to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Virpi Taimela, and I'm a member of the Stakeholder Management Office. And my main responsibility is to spread the word about all the successful projects that have used the CEF building blocks, and I do this by writing success stories. Now, today I'll be telling you about a case that used the context broker building block to build a smart irrigation system in the south of Spain, in the city of Osuna. And a smart irrigation system here refers to a remote management system for the parks and gardens to reduce the manual work, so to increase the efficiency of managing the city and to optimize the use of the water. Now, moving on to the next slide. So it was carried out by a project carried out by the Fiber Zone, and the Fiber Zone is a joint initiative between Telefónica and the regional government of Andalusia. The objective is to promote the development of smart solutions in different sectors such as smart cities, industry 4.0, and smart agri-food. And to do this, they decided to use the context broker because it's based on the global spyware NGSI v2 API standard, and because it's able to consolidate and contextualize data. Fiber Zone actually has 2 innovation centers, one in Malaga and one in Seville. It has labs for training, certification programs for their solution, and all kinds of other support for developers, companies, and public institutions. So that's just a little bit of background information on who was using the building block. And here's an overview of the case itself. The whole project took place in Osuna in Spain, so that's in southern Spain in Andalusia. And the actual organization that now uses the system on a daily basis is the Parks and Garden Service of the Osuna City Council. The name of the project was the Andalusia Smart Region, and it was performed under the Fiber Zone initiative. This project came about the challenge they were facing, and the challenge was how to build smart applications for the better management of cities and for the more efficient management of cities. And the solution came from the building block, CEF Context Broker, where they built a smart irrigation system, and it was powered by the Fireware Context Broker. And now let's have a look at how the solution was set up. So first of all, they used something called the IoT technologies, which stands for the Internet of Things. So they installed these IoT devices around the parks and gardens. And by the way, there were 8 parks and gardens around the city that fell under the scope of this project. And among these IoT devices were sensors and actuators. So the sensors are able to sense and measure things like the temperature, the humidity, the soil moisture, etc., while then they had actuators which took action. So basically, if there was a sensor that measured that soil moisture was running low, then the actuators would turn on a solenoid valve that would let the water flow and then water the plants. So these devices enable the remote management of the parks and gardens. On the right-hand side, you can see a remote water meter reading system. So this is an example of the sensor. And on the left-hand side, you see the IoT devices hub. And this is actually neither a sensor or an actuator, but this is a device that then communicated the data further towards the context broker, where the data was consolidated and analyzed. Here on this slide, you can see what types of analyses and information can be provided using the data that was collected. And the screenshots are of management dashboards that were then built based on the data that can be used, for example, by policymakers to make informed decisions. And in the top dashboard, you can see a map with the location and status of the installed services. You can see information such as the location of the device, the battery, the humidity level, the measured data. And yes, they used battery because it was more convenient than, for example, having electric cables all over the gardens and the parks. And you can also see the total ignition time of the solenoid valves. You can control or measure the total water consumption in liters per park, and then also benchmark and rank the parks. On the lower dashboard, you can actually see another map with the different parks. And in the screenshot, you can see 6 of the parks marked in different shades of blue. And the darker the blue, it means the more water consumption there has been in that park. Then moving on. Now, the benefits of the solution have been various for the city of Osuna. It has allowed to monitor in real time the status of the system and water consumption. It has been able to save water in some of the parks, 45%. And with this real-time information and the remote management, it has enabled sustainable government. And most importantly, it has optimized the water resources, which is a precious natural resource. On the right side, you can see a high-level overview now of the solution, and now I'll quickly go through this without getting too technical. So starting from the grassroots level, literally, here you have the devices, both the sensors and the actuators that were installed around the park in different parts to measure the soil moisture. They then connected or communicated the data to different hubs, secondary hubs. You can see these nodes over here in the, for example, installed on light posts. And then they connected with the central hub that then transferred the data further to an irrigation server. Then from there, the data moved on to two different platforms. The yellow area represents the Thinking City platform, where the context broker lies, and that's the brain of the system. But before the data could go into the context broker, which remember is based on the NGSI specification, they needed an ATO agent that then translates the data to the specification into the same format. So because you have different IoT devices that could potentially all use different types of language or specifications, the IoT agent kind of translates all of them into the same standard, so the context broker can then analyze all of them, consolidate, and provide contextualized data that can then be presented in different management platforms, and that's the top part. So this is for the city management to make informed decisions on higher level, for example, policies, while the actual gardening and the gardens and parks are managed through a technical operator software, where here they can, for example, see that one of the sensors is reporting low soil moisture. They can actually then send a command. So this is the remote park management system. So that it can then send a command through the irrigation server to the main hub, which then forwards the message to the secondary hubs and on to the actuators that actually take action. On this page, you can see the actual benefits of Context Broker. So the previous slide was the benefits on a higher level to the city. Here's how Context Broker actually helped the city implement the solution. So it standardized and centralized the information onto one platform. It integrated data from different information sources. Here in the figure, you can see that you can have as many IoT devices connected to the platform as you want, and that really is the beauty of the solution. You can have as many IoT solutions as you want and need. They are then translated to the right or transferred to the right format, can be interpreted by the Thinking City platform, which is powered by the Fireware Context Broker, and then contextualized for different smart applications. It's a cross-cutting platform, allows integration of all city services, and it is vendor neutral. All of these IoT devices can come from different technologies, and it won't matter. And the case that I just went through in brief was actually just one example that they've done. They've done many other solutions too. So they've done lighting for Lucena, they've done waste management for Dos Hermanas in Malaga, they've done an irrigation system for Osuna, cattle for Cordoba, etc. So this is the part of a bigger initiative where they've connected all these different IoT systems to provide smart solutions for smart and intelligent decisions to help policymakers and to make the management of cities more efficient and smart. If you'd like to learn more about the solution, I encourage you to go to the CEF Digital website and look at the success stories. It has a tab of its own success stories, and you can also filter by context broker or any other building block to find those success stories that are relevant and interesting for you. And that would be all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.